Good evening, everybody. How is everyone doing? That's what I like to hear. Okay, so we're going to get a few things started here, or excuse me, we're going to get started here in a few minutes. I just have a few things to point out. First and foremost, if I could have everyone look in the middle there and see that there's a microphone. If you guys have questions, we'd love to hear what they are, so please use the microphone. Next, if everyone could turn off their ringers and such on their cell phones, and if you have phone calls and such, sorry, I haven't been drinking enough water. If you have phone calls, just please take them outside. Flash photography, if we could just have you turn off all the flashes on your phones and cameras and such. But please take as many pictures as you like. We love to see those on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. Lastly, we do have something called FlipON.TV right now. If you look towards the back, we have a camera going. This is streaming live right now, as well as several other panel rooms too. It's super awesome. So I'm gonna get out of the way so these guys can get started, all right?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks. All right, we're gonna get this Titmouse Emerald City Comic-Con panel started. Scott Moiser was gonna moderate this, but he has some kind of super flu, so I am now the moderator. So if I seem unprepared, it's because I am unprepared. So anyway, this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna make some general announcements about some Titmouse stuff that's coming up this year. We're gonna talk to our esteemed panelists here. We're gonna talk about Jhonen's super secret project that we weren't allowed to talk about, and he wasn't allowed to talk about at his panel, because you're gonna hear about it on this panel. And we are going to show the world premiere of Disco Destroyer, the project we're working with these guys here. And then we'll open it up to questions from you guys. And afterwards, any you cosplay folks, stick around because we want to take pictures of you. So why don't we introduce the panelists? We have Joe Casey here, man of action, badass, comics writer. Jim Mahfood, also badass, artist extraordinaire. I'm Chris P. Titmouse is my studio. We got Ben Kalina here. He's our supervising producer over at Titmouse. And we've got Jhonen Vasquez, yet another badass artist, writer, comic maker. So all right, let me start with some general stuff here. Speaking of Jhonen, maybe you guys have heard of a cartoon we're doing called Randy Cunningham 9th Grade Ninja. It's about a 9th grade ninja. Jhonen did the concept art for it, and there's new episodes starting on Monday, so you can check out new episodes of that cartoon. What else? We're doing the first cartoon for Netflix. It's a spin-off of a DreamWorks movie that'll be coming out this year. It's called Turbo, and if any of you guys like Motorcity, we have the entire crew from Motorcity on it, and it's basically gonna look like Motorcity. We're participating in a new YouTube channel called Rug Burn that has a bunch of stupid cartoons on it. So if you want to look at stupid cartoons on the internet, you can go to Rug Burn. We've got a good one up there called Dog Snack right now, which is about a dog that eats a guy's farts. And we've got another one coming out in a couple weeks called Majestic Loincloth, which is a rock opera. All the music is done and voices done by Richard Christie of The Howard Stern Show, if you know who that guy is. And San Giorno Must Die, which is another badass cartoon by a guy named Jim Luhan, who's an awesome animator. Adult Swim stuff, we got, since they'll probably talk about this stuff more specifically in the future, I can't give out the most specific information, but expect more Venture Brothers, more China, Illinois, more Metalocolypse, and more Super Jail coming up. So we're working on all those things. And what else? Amazon. Who knew that they'd be making cartoons and stuff? We're making some stuff for them. And Dan Panosian's doing designs for this thing called Burma Rising, which is this crazy, super violent movie that Amazon's making. Pretty cool, right? And what else are we going to talk about here? Speaking of, because we're going to get into Disco Destroyer in a second, which we're doing for the new iteration of Liquid Television. One of the other projects we're doing besides Disco is something called Ivis, which is a weird cartoon created by Dave Johnson of comic book art fame. If you may have enjoyed his incredible cover art in the comic book world. So anyway, why don't we let Joe and Jim talk about Disco a little bit? Sound good? Yeah. All right.
Okay, basically I came up with this concept for a show called Disco Destroyer about a 70s rocker hero who has an 8-track player implanted in his chest, and he has to drag race against God and the devil to figure out who will control the universe. And I basically came up with this idea, and then I brought in Joe Casey and my buddy Scott Moiser and said, I have the ingredients for this thing. I don't really know what it is, but what can we do with this? How can we make this into an actual thing? And we kind of figured out this formula for a series, and we pitched it around basically to every single studio, and everyone said, "Oh, it's amazing, it's crazy, but we just don't know what to do with it. It's pretty fucked up and weird." And then when the opportunity came up for Titmouse to do the stuff for Liquid Television, Chris sort of realized
we make the stuff that's too crazy for anyone else to make.
Totally.
Basically.
And that's the home we need to be in. It's like Titmouse. Their agenda is sort of like to me is to champion the artist's vision first, and worry about all the other bullshit later. So that to me is like the perfect home for my stuff because it has its own weirdness to it. So we got a team together with Titmouse, and they hooked us up with some great directors and some amazing animators, and just the level of talent there. I thought we were making these like flash cartoon things that would look like kind of wonky or whatever, and then what Titmouse did is like levels beyond what I thought it was going to be. So we worked our asses off on the first 2 episodes for like a full year, and everyone in it definitely put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. And after 10 years of like pitching shows around Hollywood and having optioning deals at every studio and not having anything go through, it's like a huge deal for me to actually see my stuff moving, my characters breathing and talking. It's like pretty epic for me. It's the next evolutionary step in my art. So thank you, Chris P. and Ben and Titmouse.
And thank you for doing almost every single layout for us, so it would look like your style.
I was determined to like have it look exactly like my shit, so much to the point that I did a lot of work, and then at the end of all of it, these guys are like, "Oh yeah, we didn't want to say anything, but you basically did the work of like 4 people, of what 4 people would normally do." And I was like, "Thanks for telling me while we're done." That's Joe?
I just wanted to do it to see Jim's drawings move. So now that we're sort of at that point, I'm excited. We should maybe show something, right?
Well, I think we're teasing it.
Oh, sorry.
We're making people
okay,
wait
in about 10
premiere.
minutes, 15 minutes, we'll fucking show something.
And the cool thing about working with Joe and Scott Moiser is we all come from different backgrounds. Moiser, obviously, super producer guy, kind of handled that end of it, wrote everything with us, came up with the ideas. Joe on the writing, and me on the visuals, and all 3 of us are like really big music fans, and like I said, the main character of the show is a pure like 70s rocker guy, and without giving too much away, he doesn't really give a shit about anything other than preserving like the pure rock and roll, drink beer, drive muscle cars lifestyle.
I don't think that gives anything away.
You know, but you'll get it when you see it. But it was cool to work with guys too that understand like the musical aspect of my style, and you know, having that as an element in the show and stuff.
All right, you know, we will show disco because you got now everybody wants to see it, right? You
show
guys-
this shit.
Everybody's got a big boner for it.
All right.
Let's show
We
this
kill the lights.
We're showing it off a computer. Is it
Kill
loud?
the
Can we make
lights,
sure it's
man.
loud? We need to make sure it's loud. How do we do that? Because every time I'm at a convention, it comes on really low, and then you have to turn it up. All right, cool.
That's right, baby. The digs just got serious. You think this is a race between good and evil where the winner gets the world and that's all there is to it? Oh, hell no! You jive-ass suckers messed with the wrong dirtbag, and now his blower's wide open. Tell you what, Beelzebub should have just taken no for an answer.
Why don't you just fuck right off?
But that ain't your style, is it, Beezer? You wanted Judah Freeman, the baddest of the bad, to drive for you. And when he told you to fuck right off, you got your discos on to bone jack him. 100 bullet holes to kill him dead. All part of the ritual. Then an evil 8-track embedded in his chest, popping in their own brand of hypnodrome, ass clown music, turn him into a bona fide demon in Satan's cruel organization. Oh, the white man's wicked slave ranch.
Suck on this, disco wastoid crackerheads! Don't worry, sugar. Summer Glow's your salvation. Again.
That's right, Summer Glow. Hot blood and soul. She's 120% woman, and she will kick your ass.
Rock on, honey dick.
But that was just the beginning. The Angels wanted in on the action too. They figured Judah Freeman had seen the everlasting light and was ready to drive as their savior. Enter William B. Good.
The heavenly host sings your name, Freeman. The clean machine is yours. Why don't you just fuck right off too?
Nope. Why do anything when you can sit on your ass, watch Match Game, and get your Dipsomania on? Lizard King style.
Judah, I'm pregnant. It's yours, motherfucker.
That's right. Old Judah, the original freedom rocker. Was gonna be a goddamn daddy.
Well, hell.
All you high boys and huffers out there, the race for humanity's soul is in full swing. Evil be damned. Good be damned. Judah's gonna win this race to keep the world rocking and rolling for his unborn love child. In the next generation of iconoclastic Hellraisers. So keep the dial turned to WKFX Pirate Radio in the voice of Solomon Zulu. Fucking ABC. Easy as 1, 2, 3.
Cool.
Yeah?
All right.
Yeah? Okay.
All right, you guys seem to dig that. So, I think it's time for Jhonen to talk about his secret announcement.
I feel horrible that you showed that now because we have nothing to show, and that was amazing, and that was awesome.
Thanks, dude.
Awesome. So I apologize for the second half of this. Are you gonna?
Are we gonna do?
Who
No,
gets
no.
to say it?
Should I? Okay, you want to say it? Do you want to say it? Well, we're working on a project. We're gonna do a Titmouse original short. At one point, we were talking about doing a Kickstarter, and then we just decided, well, why don't we just make it? Who needs Kickstarter?
We didn't want to have to ship out anyone T-shirts. Or
Yeah, exactly. We could do that later after it's made.
Yeah.
So, it's a project I guess you've been thinking about for a while. I don't know. How much do we want to tease this out? Let's keep teasing it. We'll keep teasing it for a really long time.
Guys, are you ready for a thing?
Something that
No. come
Jhonen
on,
has
let's just-
drawn?
no,
Yeah,
you
okay.
just- yeah,
All
whatever.
right.
It's not that big a deal. You already know what it is. You already know what it is, right? Yeah, it's like, if you saw their flyer and you have eyes and a brain connected to the eyes, you know what it is. Anyone?
What the hell is it,
Should
man?
we ask someone to tell us what it is?
No. Okay, we're doing a Squee short. And I think I talked about it last year, but it wasn't a thing that was actually happening, which is the thing that I wanted to do. And then we had been talking about doing, well, the Kickstarter for another thing that we'll talk about later on. But we decided on, I think you were the deciding factor on the Squee thing, because he just thought it was funny. Which it wasn't. It was a drama. It was a Squee drama. But he thinks it's funny. So it's, I don't know, I'm working on the script right now, almost done. I don't know, we're going for like 10, 15 minutes or so. I don't know if it can sustain 15 minutes because it's Squee, It's usually Squee and then something awful happens and then you're done with the comic. But I'm excited, especially after seeing Jim's thing. These guys do amazing work, and we've been talking for years now. And we've done little things, not our own things, like we did the Randy Cunningham stuff. But this will be kind of amazing because it's me. No, I'm not done yet. It's kind of amazing because it's me doing pretty much whatever I want. I don't think that there's going to be. I don't think anyone's going to be saying you can't do that.
Yeah, there's no network, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
Please make it a cartoon. That would be great if you make it a cartoon.
Oh, yes. But I'm excited, and if that works, should we talk about?
We can talk about what it's about.
Okay.
Whatever you want to talk about.
The original idea was to do either a trailer or a short test to raise money, not through Kickstarter, for a Johnny the Homicidal Maniac movie. And so this Squee thing is just going to be us not just practicing, because it's going to be its own self-contained little thing, but sort of getting a feel for how the Johnny movie is going to be handled. And that's a feature. That'll be a feature. Also handled entirely through Titmouse.
Yeah.
And not
Cartoon. A
and
cartoon
not,
feature.
And not probably. I don't, not theatrical or anything, because that's bullshit.
Who needs theaters?
Who
these days?
goes to the movies anymore, right? Unless you do. I do.
I don't anymore.
So what should we talk about? Should we talk about the short itself? I mean,
You want to tell them a little bit about it?
I spoke about it
Tease it.
last year, I think, if anyone else was here. It was an idea that I've had for a couple of years, probably since around 2007. I wanted to do something. It was still for animation back then. I wanted to do a short about Squee being sold off by his parents to a McDonald's kind of place where the place uses children for meat. And so it's all about Squee having this sort of little adventure underneath. It's not McDonald's, but it's basically McDonald's. Having this little adventure with a bunch of other kids trying to survive in this labyrinth of meat. And it's called Squee versus the Labyrinth of Meat. So that's that.
Nice. All right. Well, there you go. So maybe we can open it up to questions. And at the end of the questions, we have some of these. Speaking of Kickstarter, we did this. John Schnepp, one of our directors, directed this thing. It's a spin-off of a Zenoscope book called Grimm's Fairy Tales, which we raised the money on. So we have a bunch of. They did a limited edition comic that's a. It's weird because the animated thing is an adaptation of the comic, and then this is a comic that's an adaptation of the animated thing we did. So anyway, we have those for free at the end for anybody who wants one while supplies last. All right, so questions? Anybody? The microphone's in the middle.
Okay. So, would you happen to know about Squee's trial through the labyrinth of meat through your own life, or?
Well, no, it's not funny. When I was a kid, I was trapped in a meat labyrinth.
That sounds horrific.
Under McDonald's. No.
But it was McDonald's.
No, I'm making it all up.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, in the past, it seemed like you wanted to just like walk away from Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Like,
No,
what?
you're wrong.
Okay.
I just didn't. My brain sort of shifted away from comics, and especially after Zim, the bringing everything together, just music and actors and working, it was just so much more interesting. It's just that much more fun to sit and do comics, which I love. I love sitting and drawing, but a comic with the ideas that I have now is, I think I would kill myself. There's just too much to do, and it won't ever be enough. You know what I mean? So
I also saw, like, I don't know, several years ago, you announced, like, you were doing another comic, and it was going to be a love story.
Right, love song. I didn't finish it, if you have noticed.
You did? Okay, well.
That's my answer.
Man. Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. Well, thanks.
Can we have a goat cameo in Venture Brothers?
Maybe, we'll see. We're working on, season 5 is nearly wrapped up, and we're working on a couple iterations, and including a long form and a 6th season. We're going to be working on it for years and years to come, so we shall see. Next.
So you mentioned you wanted to do a Kickstarter, you decided not to. What advice would you give for someone who maybe doesn't have the connections at a place like Titmouse, and doesn't have the access to the resources to be able to say, well, fuck it, let's just do it? Would you recommend Kickstarter as a platform, or what advice would you give to people who want to be where you are?
Do a Kickstarter. Why not? Everybody's doing it.
Kickstarter's great. I mean, we've been doing stuff with 6 Point Harness, who's had great luck with Kickstarter. We did the Grimm's Fairy Tales with Kickstarter. It's great.
We did that MC Chris pilot with Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be a TV show too. Well, it's a secret.
Maybe.
Sorry. Yeah.
But do you have any other resources that you would point people towards?
Indiegogo?
Yeah.
That one. How about that one?
Kickstarter-like things.
Yeah. The best advice, don't promise
rich
too much
parents?
in
You
your
got rich
premiums.
parents?
Just ask
rich
for
relatives.
money is what you're saying. Thank you.
Right on. Yeah.
My question is for Jhonen. With the new Homicidal Maniac movie that you have planned, I'm wondering how far along in the story writing process you are, if you could give any teasers as far as if it's going to be more of a coming-of-age tale, post-dad, back to life, or whatever you could give us.
No, it's, I plan for, by the way, I plan for 2 movies. The first one that I started writing it before the Squee thing. I sort of moved over to the Squee thing. I have a couple of pages of the Joni one. And it's, for the most part, the comics that you know, but with an actual narrative in mind from the beginning. as opposed to by issue 7, I'm like, oh, I'll kind of make sense of it, and then I'm done. It's weird. It is really odd going back and trying and rewriting moments. Like I have the moment where Squee hears a sound at the beginning. I think it's issue 1. Johnny ends up in his room, and there's the whole "where the fuck is the back teen" thing, and I wrote that whole scene over, and it can't just be the comic book. You know what I mean? Like, that's boring. And also, I look at the comic as a really crude thing in its execution, which is kind of why it works for a lot of people. I think it's fun, to see. It's just a mess of ideas. But sitting down and writing a script, I couldn't have him just say, like, I don't think he says, "Where the fuck is the Bactine?" You know, which is a line that people would quote from the comics, but I can't think that way because it's just uninteresting. Where I'm trying to hit all the marks. What do people want to see? Because my first note in doing anything is, what would make the fans the most sad? And then hopefully they're like, I'm sad, but this is good too, you know? So it's Johnny killing people. And I think I would have to say that it's much more from the get-go Lovecraftian, the way the book got. It's much less about Johnny being a badass who kills people because he's a badass. It's more about a tool who doesn't know he's a tool, you know?
Thank you.
There was the short that you had planned.
This one is for the Titmouse guys. So on a scale of this is total bullcrap, or kind of true, or things with the capital T are happening that we can't talk about, I heard that you guys in Valve might be doing something with Motorcity. Is that true or not? I know. I read it. I'm pretty sure it's not true.
We've been meeting with Valve. Ooh. Motorcity is probably. I mean, Disney's just got the lock on that, and it's,
I thought they only had the TV show.
Yeah, they're. It's tough. I think we're probably going to do something that's new, that is, something that hopefully you guys will dig because it's in that same sensibility. But that's, I think, about as much as I could say about that.
That works.
Cool?
That was what I was expecting.
All right. Nice.
I have a question for Jim.
Yes?
Did you actually do those backgrounds? Did you just do the backgrounds outright, or did you
I did some of the backgrounds, and then we had a couple. We had
a couple of our background guys from Motorcity on that one. But
was it Mark?
Every single character in the whole thing was Jim. Jim designed every single shot, which was amazing. That's like.
It was a retarded level.
It was good
of
to not
drawing.
have a schedule. To do that, we would have had to have like 20 guys.
Although you should see our animatics; those are really classic.
We did. Joe, Scott, and I actually thumbnailed out all the episodes, and then Scott cut them together into our own little stickman ghetto animatics. But it was kind of cool because we could go in anywhere and say, here's exactly how the pacing of the 3-minute show is going to go, and here's every single shot, and it worked out pretty well that way. Also, I'm old school, and I still draw with pencils and pens on paper, and so when I went into Titmouse, some of the young animators that worked there, they're all in their 20s. They were like, "What the fuck, dude? You still draw on paper? Like, what? What is this? Like a stack of like drawings this high."
We busted out the scanner.
Yeah. Scanning intern. That's what I need.
Right on.
Cool. I have a question for Jim also. First off, that shit rocked.
Thank you.
Yeah. Second of all, I was wondering, do you have plans to keep it rolling, so to speak, after the whole race thing's done? Keep the characters going?
We developed the show that, in a way of like Speed Racer, the race is the background of the show.
Okay.
So you would follow Judah's adventures, with this race, going into different, situations.
I got Moser on the phone.
Oh, holy shit! Okay, Scott Moser.
Do you want to hear what they thought about that?
But yeah, we designed it, man, so that it can sort of like go on forever, where it's Judah versus the forces of God and the forces of the devil to figure out like who's going to win this race and if it's ever going to be won. And we kind of did this thing where there's a lot of influence from like the 70s movie The Warriors, where Judah would eventually encounter like lots of different like street gangs and weird crews of racers and people and stuff like that. So we kind of developed that like anything can happen.
Awesome, man.
Hold on a second. Okay, say hey to everybody. Say hello, dude.
Maybe.
Can you say? Are you saying?
Put it on speaker. Can you put your phone on speaker?
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, now say something.
I'm fucking saying something right now.
All right. All right, tell Moser what you thought of the Disco Destroyer there.
Yeah!
All right, now, Mo, say something pithy so then we can hang up on you.
Everybody liked it. Everybody is going to attack you in
We think they liked it. We think they liked it.
They liked it.
We're good.
How you feeling though? You're not really sick, are you?
No, I am actually sick. I'm not fucking lying.
All right. Well, we believe you. All right. Feel better, man.
Let's hear it for technology.
Take care, Scott.
All right.
Hi, so I also have a question about Motorcity.
Uh-huh.
Since the show was kind of canceled before we could get a resolution to a lot of the storylines, were there any characters or any storylines that you really wanted to explore that you didn't get a chance to?
Oof, yeah, a ton. I think there's like we like took pictures of the like writers' room, and people are doing like fanfic comics of it. So just read those; they'll probably be awesome. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were gonna explore a lot. I think, you know, I don't know, a lot of the history. We were gonna go into the backstory a lot in the beginning. So, yeah, you'll have to look out for those fanfic comics.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Hi, I have two quick questions for Jhonen. In the Squee short and the Johnny movie, how many characters that we're familiar with can we expect to be returning?
In terms of the Squee one, Squee, Shmee, Squee, Shmee, his parents, at least in the beginning, although they'll probably get cut out because it's really long right now. And then just a whole bunch of new kids. It's been a challenge. It's just been odd because Squee, I'm just knocking water over like left and right. So excited. Squee in the comics is, I mean, he's not really someone that carries something on his own, story-wise, in the comics. You know, he doesn't speak a whole lot. He just squeaks and reacts to what the comic's about. Usually it's not about Squee, it's about an alien attacking or you know, just a giant tick. In this, he has to speak a lot more. He has to be much more of, he's kind of like the Bilbo of this story, you know? Because it's a gang of kids who band together to escape from the labyrinth. So I had to make up a bunch of new kids. So when I was writing the script, it starts off with his parents and Squee, you know, at home, and then it goes to the restaurant, McWilly's. Yeah, instead of Ron. This is old stuff, so I might change the name, but their Ronald McDonald was Billy McWilly, whose real name is Billiam McWilliamson.
So no Pepito then?
What's that?
So no Pepito then?
You know, I thought he might pop in for like a millisecond, but it has to kind of make sense. But for the most part, it's entirely new cast of characters. And it's been fun because even the parents, I'd never really had the parents speak before like people. They just spoke in terms of motivations. They're like, they would outright say, I hate you, I wish I never had you. It's like, I look back at that stuff and it's like, I get it, but it's clumsy. So I've had a lot more fun turning them into people. Still awful, awful people. They sell their child for meat, you know? The Johnny one, almost everybody that is from the comics, you know?
Awesome.
Just, I might get rid of a few and consolidate a couple of others, but for the most, except Johnny's not in it.
And my one other question, do you have any voice actors in mind or lined up yet?
No, that's going to be so odd. Squee might not be such a big deal, but Johnny will definitely be very, very strange. And I think what we might end up having to do is just allow people to download their own voice packs. You know? Like with your GPS, you know?
You should just do the voice, dude.
Yeah. The only person that comes to mind, even though he's not right entirely, but the only person that has a certain, like stand-up comedians have, they're all such broken people. like they're funny, but they're broken people. And I love how kind of cute, but truly destroyed Patton Oswalt seems, you know? And he gets very excited. You know? But I don't know if the quality of his voice is quite right. But he's the only person that that actually comes to mind.
Thank you.
All right. And Danny Glover.
Yeah, hey, I was actually you already brought up the season 2 story
plot board for Motorcity that got posted on Twitter and Tumblr and things. And well, I guess you kind of already answered my question in saying there'd be some fanfic comics.
Efficiency.
Yeah. A couple things on there really stuck out. Mainly one very surprising revelation about Julie. And that one plot point, or that one potential story with the gang of Texans who are offended by Texas. Do you know if those things are going to be addressed in the fan comics at all? Did you have anything to say about anything on the plot board?
I mean, we would have liked to have made them all into cartoons. But yeah, I mean, you probably remember more about those cards than I do. I can't remember specifically the Julie one you're talking about. But it would have been awesome.
I won't say it out loud. But
right on.
yeah, it's cool. I'll keep my eyes peeled though.
Awesome. Thanks.
How's it going? This question's for Jim. I was just curious. I guess if that does well, which you have up there, which looks great, are there any plans or ideas for possibly a zombie kid character?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm just sort of waiting to see what happens with this, but I do still have sort of an arsenal of back characters that could be developed, you know, in some form or another, but kind of waiting to see where this goes. I wanted to create something completely original with these guys to do as a show because it's less heartbreaking if it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? If you create something, you have like my Girl Scout character, zombie kid, whatever. It's like your baby. If you sell it off, it gets ruined. Something horrible happens. It's more of a devastating blow than, you know. I've been pitching ideas now that are just completely original ideas for shows. And so if it doesn't work out, it's less disappointing in a way. You know, you don't want some like corporation fucking up like something you worked on for like 20 years or whatever. So. You know, rock and roller, 8-track player, sells itself. Let's do this.
That old story.
And just also, Jhonen, are you sure you don't have any like clips of the Squee stashed away in your briefcase somewhere?
Yeah, I wish.
right.
I'm super jealous right now of Jim.
You put a page of the script on your Twitter a while ago.
Yeah, there was a page of the script. It was the parents trying to get Squee to go to the restaurant, but just go to Instagram, and it's just like watching a cartoon.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
Hi. First of all, Mac told me to say hi for you guys.
Oh, right on.
And my question is, are you planning on doing any more Disney shows in the future?
We are. I kind of got a consolation prize when Motorcity didn't get renewed, so they picked up another, option to new show that. We'll see if that happens. And we'll be making more Randy Cunningham, and I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot more Randy coming, too.
Yeah, there's a lot more Randy episodes.
We're not even halfway through them
right
now.
Like 40 or something. There's a lot of episodes. Yeah. They take a really long time. Cartoons take so long to make. Right on. Brock.
Killer costume.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. So this is a little bit of a personal question for Chris P. I think you had 2 kids recently. What's it like?
Just one kid.
Just one? Oh, just one kid. Okay.
He's as good
one
as 2 kids.
Yeah, whatever.
He's as badass as 2 put together.
Guess it's all right. So what are your thoughts on like running a company and like Titmouse and dealing with family? Are you like more hands off? Do you like obviously hire a lot of accomplished?
We bring the kid to the
people?
studio all the time.
Or just like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's amazing if you ever got to get something approved by a client.
Yeah.
Bring Chris P in when he's got his
I had to
baby.
do a
No one
meeting
ever
with-
gives us notes after
Yeah,
that.
you just have him in the baby Bjorn when you're meeting with the DreamWorks executives, and then they don't give you any notes. It's a good,
pretty badass
pro tip.
Badass
there.
dad.
All right, cool. All right, was that it for the questions? Are we about? Is it? Oh, we got another one.
I have one more. So I hear that you guys actually do a lot of the animation in-house in
Yep.
here. Just want to say that's awesome because not enough people do that. So props.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right.
So I was just wondering if the Squee animation is as successful as you hope it is there any potential that you might consider doing like a serial short with multiple different situations with them?
I would like to. I need for one to go to space. I miss space. But probably, depending on how the Squee one does, I think that we'd probably move into the Johnny one. And there's no space in that. Wait, no, there is. I just remembered something.
How did Titmouse come to be like as a brand name for families or sick-minded people alone to enjoy?
It's I didn't think I was going to make an animation studio. Kind of worked at the networks and the studios around, and Titmouse was going to be like an online T-shirt company. It sounded like a stupid name. We started making T-shirts, and then started to do more and more freelance work, and then a company hired me to do. Anybody see a movie? It's a pretty old movie now called Freddy Got Fingered. It's weird. So I got hired to do the animation in that movie, and they were like, "Hey, so what's your production company?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm just a dude." And they're like, "We can't hire a dude. We're like a real movie company." So I was like, "I have this thing, Titmouse. It's incorporated." And they're like, "Okay, I guess that checks out. You can get some production insurance, and you're good to go." And then we started making the cartoons through the company, and not just me, like, giving money to my friends out of, a personal checkbook. So, yeah, there was no plan at all. It just kind of happened.
All right, thank you.
Do you still have the original shirts that you guys did? Like
I got some of them. Yeah, you can have one.
Yeah, I want one.
I think we have like little tiny girl sizes and big fat dude sizes. So you're out of luck.
What are you saying?
Yeah.
Hi. This question is for Jhonen. And I know we keep asking you. Well, if Squee's successful, then we get a Johnny part. I want to know if you're going to do one about Debbie.
Well, she would be in the Johnny one.
Well, yeah, but she had I Feel Sick, too. So are you thinking about kind of giving her her own thing again, or is she
She'd
mostly
be probably
gonna be...
half of the second one if it ever came to that. Nice. Actually. I love the idea of doing little shorts. Hey, we should do...
Hey, we're coming up with ideas on the panel. What should we do?
I have a bunch of little shorts I have a bunch of little boy shorts. I have a bunch of little scripts that I've written for shorts that are all I Feel Sick related, but they're not comics or anything. They're just because I like writing those characters, so they're like little writing exercises. And they're just like the comics. They're just little scenarios, but I never planned on having them turned into anything, but I would like to. Just harass them.
Okay. Excellent. I can do that. All right,
Nice.
thank you.
All right.
Is that it?
It might be. Does anyone else have a question? No?
Nobody has a question.
Can everybody like scream or make noise, and I'm gonna video it. All right, you ready? Okay, go. Thank you. All right, so we got some of these free comic books up here for anybody who wants them. They look like this. There's art in the back that shows how the cartoon was made. You got storyboards. You see storyboards in there. And you got some other arts. And the comic book, actually, we had nothing to do with. That was made by Zenoscope, but it's based on John Schnepp's cartoon. So, yeah, and any of the cosplay folks, come on up. I want to get pictures. All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.